Oh man, Brett, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. I love your acronym of MOB. My question is, I feel like for me, I've grown up watching sports my entire life, and I can say that in terms of like a willpower and a mentality perspective, I've seen hockey players play through things like, punctured lungs and just insane injuries. I'm curious for you, is it the culture that does that, or is there any type of strategies or tips that you could share that you guys do to really build that resilience, if that makes sense?
Yeah, well, there's lots of injuries I've had. As a matter of fact, that time I raised the cup, I mean, I had played through a torn ligament in my thumb. I did that in game three in the finals. And then in game one, I got two guys that kind of hit me from behind. I tore my labrum in my hip. And so I was playing, 5 to 4 games on some significant injuries that both of them needed surgical repair after the Stanley Cup finals. And how I kept playing through it, I don't really know. Sometimes I look back and kind of think, wow, how did I do that? And I remember after we win the cup, we're inside the locker room, and Rod Brindamore, our captain, he's got champagne in the cup, and I go over and I drink from it from the first time from Roddy, one of my best buddies to this day. I love him. We've been through so much together, and we believed in one another. We raised each other up when we needed it. So I was no better guy to be drinking from the Stanley Cup the first time than with Rod Brindamore, who now coaches the Carolina Hurricanes. But after I drank from the cup, I remember crawling over to my stall where I was, and it was a full locker room. You couldn't get anybody in there. And I went down on my hands and knees, and I puked right there in front of my stall. I had nothing left. I completely had given everything I had in me during that, 4 rounds of seven, 7 games in the Stanley Cup Finals, on the ice to close the game, but we get it done, and yeah, puked everything I had in me. And it was like I think all of that. What you realize is that you're pulling for the guys beside you, and you'll do anything for them. It's it's not war. Okay, let me take it. It's not war, but you are in a foxhole with these people, and you don't want to let them down. And I think that's kind of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it won't matter. That's what we always say in martial arts and kung fu, that I do a little bit now over the last 5 years. But that's kind of where you get to that level where it's you again. You're thinking about others more than yourself, which allows you to drive a lot further through things than you could ever imagine.
Love it. Love it. Ellie in Michigan.